Alright, let's take these 60-year-old rims and swap them out for these however old forest dump rims and hope for the best. Bearings seem to be fine. They're very stiff, but that doesn't really matter for a trailer. So bigger wheels the better, I guess, in that scenario. I can fit the Jeep rims on that, but don't know why I would. But I can. I think these are like 29-inch rims, and I think the Jeeps are 30s. So we have that option. These hubs and these lugs actually look really good for what they are, but that's a stiff bearing. Oh, I don't expect to be going very far with these, but still, they may need to be adjusted. There, that ain't too bad. Only lowers the whole thing about another inch, which I think is definitely tolerable, especially for, maybe 4 times the tread life, although I don't think there's much life left in either of these. But just a slight bit more left in these, I think, maybe. Definitely more in the rims at the very least. Well, this one is simultaneously worse and better because it spins really nice, but also sounds like this. So, probably not the best sign. Probably needs a bearing job. It's never going to get one, but it could probably use one. And finally, we have Evinrude parts again. However, you may notice something that's a little off. Some dumbass only bought one spark plug. It was me. I was the dumbass. So we're gonna have to wait again. Maybe. So let's go pop into the garage real quick and take a look at this stuff and make sure we got the right stuff going on. Alright, so here's the new fuel pump, here's the new spark plug, here's one of the original spark plugs, and here are the 2 of the wrong spark plugs that I bought. So let's take a quick gander at them and just look at the condition of everything. Alright, so here's the spark plugs that were last in the engine. These are the wrong ones I bought. One on the left is the top cylinder, one on the right is the bottom cylinder. They don't look any worse than I was expecting. Oil buildup and carbon, but it's a 2-stroke. Wetter on the bottom cylinder makes sense. It's at the bottom, stuff leaks down, etc., etc. They get different amounts of fuel and all that. But it looks like both of them are firing, Top one may be a little bit better than the other one. But there are also the wrong spark plugs, so you can't really go on that. Now, let's take the old spark plug and compare that to one of these. And if you notice, the gap's different. And I noticed that immediately after I pulled it out of the box, and I went, oh, that's weird, I hope I didn't buy the wrong spark plug. And then I didn't check it. And I did. I bought the wrong one. See it right there. Yeah. So let's compare that to the new one. As you can see, the gap is correct on this, so it was just my fuck up. So anyway, we're going to wait on those again because I don't know where I can buy them, and I definitely ain't paying like $15 for a spark plug at a local marine parts store. And let's check on the new fuel pump. Now, if you look down in there, which I don't think you're going to be able to do, there is a hole. I can see a hole drilled in there. However, we don't get any yodel action. So I'm a bit worried. So I think I'm going to pop this open and make sure that it's assembled correctly. The hole does appear to be drilled, but I'm not getting any flow through just with, my gut pressure. And the amount of PSI that I put out and the amount of PSI that, the engine is going to put out is probably not going to be terribly different. So if I can't overcome that, then the engine may have some trouble. So we're going to pull that apart real quick and just make sure it's put back together correctly. And then I think what I'm going to do is throw one of these, not these. I think I'm going to throw these guys into the engine just so if I decide to test fire it, I have correct spark plugs. And we're going to stick this on the bottom cylinder and this on the top cylinder, and I'm going to take this and clean it up just a wee bit more. And we'll clean those back up and stick them in the boxes and just keep them for later in case for the remote chance I ever actually end up needing them. But let's dig into that fuel pump first. Alright, well, this one's fucked too. This time it's the thumb screw. This thing is just totally stripped out. Like, I got it and there was like a wisp of thread on it. And you heard before, I'd blow in this and it would make, you could hear air coming through, but nothing would come out of this. And the reason for that is because this was stripped out, and so this was not sealing, and all the air was just blowing back out through the thumb screw and around this edge over here. So yeah, it's already fucked. I pulled it apart just to be certain. This is drilled, and there's no reason why it shouldn't work, except for the fact that this can't build enough pressure to move the diaphragm to let air through and back out. So if I threw this on the motor, it would just immediately gush gas out from around this thing, and I can't even get the dang thing. And when I torqued it back down, I went down and about maybe a quarter of the amount of torque that the other one takes, and it just ripped the last wisp of thread out of it. And this thing was already gouged when I got it. You saw that. So someone must have fucked this up before me. I don't know. But anyway, this is getting returned, and we're just gonna go with the old fuel pump because I'm fucking tired of getting scammed by the Chinese. We got that guy in though. All right, so let's put that there and see how it looks. Alright, there that is. Looks pretty good. Goes well with the boat. I think it might go a little bit better than the Evinrude did. The weight difference between the Evinrude and the Honda is significant, but not significant in a way that I think it should matter for a boat as far as weight distribution goes. That sucker's close to 100 pounds, maybe 95, something like that. The Evinrude's probably just a bit over 60, probably 60, 65. So there's like a 30 pound weight difference. There's a cinder block's worth of weight difference between the two, which is a lot for a motor that is like 20 years older and the exact same horsepower. But this is a 4-stroke. So, but this one is also 20 years older and in much better condition. I'd love to use this on here. I just don't know if it's going to work. If it does, awesome. That'd be fantastic. I just leave it as is. But we don't know. She seems to ride a little bit close. Only got about that much clearance. Lost maybe an inch with the trailer wheels. This is also a sort of bastardized doohickey up here. And I think my trailer hitch is probably right about there. So... plus, I can always just put this thing on tilt. Yeah. Should go up one more? Yeah, she towed just fine like that, I think. Seems to work pretty good. I don't know. We'll have to test on it. But anyway, more importantly, now I can take the John boat back to the other house and work on flipping that trailer axle and get on here and replace a couple other things, like the bunk board. So I'm going to have to trim these U-bolts down here. My hope is to take the axle and put it on the top of the spring. I don't even know if we're going to have enough clearance with all of the that mount up there. I don't expect this thing to, bottom out anytime soon, but real close. I only have about that much clearance. May have to find some sort of better mounting plate thing or something, or shave some metal out of it. Other thing is I want to flip the bunk boards. So I'm going to have to pull all this carpet off, cut it in half. Then I think what I'm going to do is take one of these 2x8s and then just rip it in half, probably this one. Rip it in half so that I still have all the holes drilled for the other side, and then take the other one and stick it over here. And then I'll just have a 2x8 with some holes in it. And I'm probably going to need to take this and like rotate it 90 degrees or something. Don't know. I may just take those blinkers and then just stick them over there or something, or stick them down here or something, do something. Probably be easiest just to spin the bracket around. I don't know. We'll see. But that's the plan. Trim up the U-bolts, half the height of the bunk boards, and flip the axle upside down. That should lower everything like, that'll be 4 inches up there and probably close to 6 down there. And that'll put us in a much more, normal height. I'd say that's normal. This is really high. And it's deliberately really high because I made it really high so that the motor wouldn't hit the ground and that I could have the suspension up there. And turns out that was unnecessary. Yeah, I may even adapt this for that guy. Don't know. Only real difference is this has a point. This is flat. I don't know what the technical term is. I ain't a sailor. This one got the pointy front. That one got the flat front. So I'd have to adapt that to something like that. But I probably am going to try and make this swappable between the two. Because if I do end up keeping this boat, I'm probably going to want it on this trailer more so than that one. Although it is a nice trailer. It may just be easier actually to put that axle on this trailer. And then I'll throw this one away because I won't be able to do anything with these spindles. But anyway, I'm rambling again, so I'm gonna shut up. But motor went that way, so I get to take this home and work on it now. You know, with the way that sits, I may just stick the 2 old Jeep rims on there if I can dig them out from underneath the wood pile that they're holding up. They should add another like inch or 2 height on this, which it may need. Plus they're like way bigger. Alright, so I've jammed myself up in here and we got all this spliced back together, so hopefully all of our lights work now. Keyword is hopefully. Well, it looks like the rat only tore apart my spare rope, so the anchor rope's actually fine, so I've just sort of stuck that back together and it's usable. That's just what I would need to use to tie up to a dock or something, or get towed or something like that, so no big worries. I'm trying to think up some geometry over here at the moment to sort of install a roller on here so that I can stick this boat on this trailer. And I'm thinking if I take that roller that I still got from the other trailer and I get like a 6-foot piece of bar stock, cut it into 2 2-foot sections and 2 1-foot sections, I can run and then take that remaining piece of punch square tube like that I got, plus I got a whole pile more of it that I stole from the Department of Transportation because they left it in the ditch for like 4 years. I can put that in here, bolt that to this, then I can take the flat bar, pinch it on either side, and just sort of create like a split arm, run it up here to the roller, which I don't think is going to fit in between the two, but we'll bastardize something to work. Have the roller come out right here, and then take another set of flat bar, do the exact same thing on this, put a bushing in it so it doesn't squish, and then run it up to here with a cotter pin through here so that I have a sort of like that coming up with a sort of another arm coming up here pinched onto this, so that if I want to put the John boat on here, I can just pull this cotter pin, stick it back through the flat bar, and just let it sit right here. But if I want to put something with a point at the front, with some kind of keel on it, I can swing it on up there so it'll hit that. Or I could always just run it into this. It may just be fine on there, but it'd be nice to have a roller if I can get it on there. So we're going to play around with that. It all depends on whether or not I can find a piece of flat bar, or whether or not it costs less than like $30 to buy one. And yeah, I'm also thinking about the height back here, and I measured it and it don't look it, but this trailer is only 7 inches shorter, like from the bottom right there to the bottom right there, right at the axle. That's 29 inches and that's 22. They're only not even the height of that board in difference. So if I take those bunk boards, which are 2x8, split them right in half, that'll give me just a hair underneath. I think it'll give me like 3.6, 3 5/8 or something like that. Then I took some measurements, and if I overswing the axle, I should gain about 3.5, or lose about 3.5 inches, because it's about from the center of the axle to the top of the leaf spring. It's like 1.75 inches. So if I reverse that, it'll be double that distance, so 3.5 inches. So they should be exactly the same height after I do what I'm planning to do. I'm thinking I may even be able to get away without putting rollers down the center too. That's what the height would be below the boat once I split the board. There's about a 3.25 inch drop for the keel on the other boat, which really only gives me about 1.5 inches, maybe 2 inches of clearance down the center, which I don't think is gonna hit anything. I mean, It's close. It's close enough that it would worry me, but not enough that it'll concern me. I think we might be able to get away without them. I definitely don't think we have the height to even install them, even if we wanted to, without leaving the bunk boards as they are, and we can't do that. So we'll just not. Alright, so here's what I got for materials, and we're going to try and cobble this into a sort of swing out, pop up front roller for whenever we decide to try and put the V-hole on the John boat trailer. I'm also going to try and find another 4-inch roller, or probably just buy one because I think I can get one for like $4 from China. And we're going to make another roller. We're going to make a little pop-up, or a little just permanent bracket all the way at the very end, just like one little 4-inch roller right in the middle, so that if we come at the trailer at a steep angle, we don't hit the keel immediately on the back of the trailer and sink the boat. So we're just going to put one of those in there, and I'll try and get that at just the right height so that the boat is just barely sitting on it on the back whenever it's on the trailer, and low enough that the John boat never touches it. Well, John boat will never touch it, even if I have it properly adjusted, because the John boat is like 3 inches lower. But anywho, I digress. We're going to take, whenever I buy that 4-inch roller and this guy and whatever hardware I can scavenge from the Boxo mystery, probably some kind of head bolt, and we'll use those to just quickly bolt that to the frame. Doesn't need to be anything fancy. It's just going to be just like what we did with the bunk boards on the other trailer. Just a little bit of the same angle iron. We'll have it pop up, cut a little bit out, turn it around, have it pop up, run a bolt this way. I have to have this wing on the outside. Just put a little roller in there, bevel the corners so that it's not sharp, so that you come in, keel hits that, rolls on up, easy peasy. Swing out thing should be fairly simple. The hardest part's going to be measuring everything on the front end. I went and got 2 pieces of 4-foot, 1.5-inch steel, because that was the best bang for my buck. Also because they didn't have any 6-foot pieces, and that gives me a lot more slop. So I can just think what I'm going to do is just cut 1 in half, and I'm just going to lock it in at 2 foot, and then we'll have slop left over, and hopefully another like 2.5 foot to play around with. And yeah, I'm going to get to figuring that out, and I'll show you when I got it all together. Alright, this is what I got right ya. This came out a lot better than anticipated. I have essentially no slack, maybe 1/8 of an inch between the bottom of this, which is about damn near perfect. Want a little bit of wiggle so it doesn't start bending things. And side to side, maybe a 1/2 inch. That's way better than I thought it was going to be. And yeah, this is how we got it hooked up. Just like I said, everything worked according to plan. I got 1.5 inch flat bar all the way up and here in the middle. Got 2-inch spacing here, 4-inch spacing there and there. Just got a piece of 1.5 inch punch square tube right here in the center, bolted to this. And yeah, and I've got this sort of makeshift cotter pin done over here. I had to make my own cotter pin, and it'll stick on me because it's cold now, but give me a sec. Alright, that fought me. We still got to do some work over here on these bolt holes right here, and on this literal bent bolt that I just jammed in there and ground a hole in. So need to sand on that a little bit, make it a little bit more round, and wiggle the hole, or wiggle the 3/8 drill bit in there and widen those holes a little bit just so it passes through, and cut these threads off. Yeah, that's how she is. She just folds up out of the way just like that, sits on the frame, doesn't move far enough to come off. Of course she'll make, one hell of a racket, but you can fold it this way or that way. Probably I'll just get a bungee cord or something and have it looped around here so it stays in place, but folds on out of the way, so you can grab your John boat and just yank it on up here. And if you want to do a V-hole, you just pop that guy up, lock it in, and the next step is I'm going to be putting a roller back here as well, just to keep anything with a keel from smacking into that guy right there and immediately putting a hole in the boat. And we're really tight right here. What I'm gonna have to do is get another roller just like that one up there, and we're gonna get a piece of 1.5 inch angle iron, put it off of here at a 45-degree angle, and it will be, the top edge of the roller will be in line with the bottom of this, what will be a 2x4 here, and the bottom of the roller will basically be in line with the frame. And it's going to be sitting right here just off of it, just so that if something comes in, it hits that roller and does not go into this mess right here. That's the plan, at least. And yeah, I gotta take some measurements, see if these U-bolts are gonna be in the way, but that's the plan. I just need to buy the roller, and I've got the angle iron up here already. This guy right here, which is the same thing we used on the other trailer. I think this is 1.5, looks like 1.5. We're gonna make it work, and it should just be as simple as get a 5-inch piece at 3.5 inches, cut it right along the spine, and then we're going to bend one side down at a 45-degree angle, and then fold the other side like this at a 45-degree angle, up like that. Then we'll be able to drill through this part and this part that is now folded over, bolt that to the frame, and then drill a big old hole up here, and then snip this corner off and snip that corner off, and have that mounted like this to the frame, or however it's supposed to be. And there will be 2 mirrored brackets like that, and it should just be as easy as chucking this 1/2-inch bolt up in there inside of the roller, easy as pie. And then hopefully we clearance everywhere underneath on the frame as well. So I'm gonna order up one of those and get to work on the brackets, and I'll show you when I got it done. Alright, so it's looking like these are exactly 1.5-inch proud, which gives me this much slop, and you know, with the whole boat sitting on the roller is probably going to compress that much. So that's really close. I think what I'm going to do to counteract that is, instead of just splitting one of these in half and then using it over here, I think I'm just going to take both of these boards off and split all of them in half and leave 4 inches over here instead of 3.5. That'll give me an extra 1/2 inch and make this just a little bit taller, and it won't mess up anything else, and that'll give me, you know, that'll give me this much clearance rather than that much clearance. So hopefully that should work, and then I gotta work on those guys as well. And I think I should, even if I give myself that extra 1/2 inch, I think I should just be able to just take the top of them off. And if that doesn't work, I mean, they're literally just a hole drilled in there and bolted in, so I can just move them down, you know, 3/4 of an inch on either side. That's the plan, at least. Alright, so I went and ordered another roller, and with much grunting and groaning, a little bit of the death wheel, a little bit of the big clamp, a hammer, and a C-clamp, I think we have 2 brackets mostly made for the roller. And the plan is to run the bolt through this, through the roller, and then through the other one. And then this will sit like that on the angle iron, and then I'm going to fold these over. And the part of my brain that I try and kill by drinking, the one that keeps me from making bad decisions, it kept telling me, hey, when you fold that thing, it's going to turn at a 45-degree angle like that instead of being straight. And so I would just drink and then shut it up and go, nah, it's gonna fold straight. It folds at a 45-degree angle because I went and made mock-ups just to make sure. So that's what we're going for. So if we're lucky, we'll be able to get like a 1/4-inch bolt through that or something. I don't know. We'll figure it out. If not, one big ass 3/8 probably be good enough. I don't know. I'm not gonna worry about it. But anyway, if my math is right, this is going to put the center of this hole 2 inches above the top of the frame rail, which will then put this guy between a 1/4 inch and a 1/2 inch above the bottom of the bunk board. And after we get everything set up and measured, I'll figure out exactly where it's sitting, and I'll get an exact measurement on the bottom of the CMF boat, and then we'll know how much to cut off of the bunk boards themselves to get everything nice and Gucci. But yeah, I'm going to try and bend both of these at a 45-degree angle inward, and hopefully that works. I feel like it's going to be a real pain in the neck to bend those. I mean, I think the C-clamp is about broken. Already bent it a little bit. So we'll just do that and see if I snap it and jam my arm into the jagged corner of this and rip my forearm open, or have the C-clamp explode and shoot a chunk of cast iron into my eyeball. One of the two. We'll figure it out. I'm going to get back to it. Alright, well, with much bemoaning and groaning, we got that in there, and those 45-degree wings are not perfect. They're not even close to perfect. Yeah, but they are at least even, so we got that going for us. Don't think they're going to be able to help me do anything as far as getting a second bolt in there, so they'll probably just be there and they'll just provide support that direction. It'll just bend and snap off that direction or something. I don't know. Maybe I'll throw some C clamps on there. Who knows? Maybe I'll learn how to weld, and then it'll just be, a couple of spot welds and be golden. I mean, it doesn't need much. So this is what I'm trying to go for, except with an obscene amount of washers thrown on there because I don't have any other half-inch hardware. And I think what I'm going to try and do is get these holes on at a 6-inch center to center spacing. So I'm going to need to stuff, I think this is a little under 4 inches. I think it's like 3.5. So what's that? 4 or 5. So I got to jam an inch worth of washers in there, but we'll sort it out. Plus I got to take up all this slack anyway. And then I think I'm also going to come in here with the reciprocating saw and just snip the top corner of these off, and then take this and just sort of cut a nice little 45 off the tips of these, just so that if I miss the roller, I don't hit this and do horrid damage. Well, as much horrid damage. Still going to do horrid damage, but maybe slightly less. That's the hope, at least. Yeah. That is the concern. It's as long as I can keep that low enough that nothing is going to hit that if it goes over the side. Yeah, these guys right here are the real big issues, but I'm also going to have washers over there, so it's just going to be a hot mess, and I'm certain this is going to cause me to sink a boat, but we're just going to not care, and we're just going to go for it. Yeah. So whenever it's not raining outside, maybe 7 months from now, I'm going to just drill some holes in the back of the frame, huck this on with some 3/8, put the roller on, and call it a day. That should be it. Got those trimmed up, so I think I'm going to call it a day. And we'll drill holes, fit this on the back of the trailer on another day. Unless... Hey, it stopped raining. For now, at least. Maybe I will go try that. I mean, should just be 2 holes, so let's give it a shot. Okay, so she's installed. It actually even looks level, which is amazing. Got this nice fancy lock nut that I found, and as you can see, turns out it's not the same thread pitch as that half-inch bolt, but as a wise man once said, cross-threading is just nature's Loctite. So that's never coming off, probably. I got plenty more of those bolts, so we can always cut it off if we gotta. You'll also notice that it's not center on that tube there, and that's probably bothering you, but don't worry, it's actually centered on the trailer right now. That's because these bunk boards are not centered. So that line right there is actually the center of the bunk boards, and that's where I want that, because this needs to be centered when the boat is on there for the center of the boat. I don't give a shit about the trailer. So, I mean, the trailer's bent, so, like, it fits. And yeah, I've got all this wiggle room to not be able to adjust that because of said cross-threaded nut. But I probably need to do something. I need to get some, like, big chunk of rubber or something I can stick over the ends of these. Something like that, so it can hold salt water and rust all of this out. Something like that. But yeah, she's on there, just 2 5/16 bolts that I found, both of which had mangled threads, so that's good. But she's on there. She's not solid, but whenever I get the boat off and work on the bunk boards, I'm probably gonna drill a 1/4-inch hole up there and then run 2 1/4-inch bolts just to, give it a little bit more clamp. And yeah, I was aiming for between 2 3/4 and 3 inches from the top of the roller to the top of the frame rail. Ideally 2 3/4, but a 1/4 inch more isn't going to hurt because this is going to squish. And as you can see,
That's right about where we are. Right about there. About 2 7/8, so I think that's perfect. So long as my original measurement of the CMF boat was correct. So I just need to cut these to 3.5 inches, and we should be golden. Recarpet it, put it back on, and that may just be it. Oh yeah, and flip the axle over and trim these guys down. That shouldn't be a problem. Axle may be an issue, as I said before, with the mounting hardware, but we'll figure it out. I may just have to go to one spring over here for the leaf spring. Not really gonna help me much, other than I don't have to contend with that central bolt that pops up. We'll see. I can always flip it over. Yeah, that's a future Tom problem. But we got the rear roller on. Just need to find something I can use for a spacer back there, and some bumpers for the corner of the bracket, and sink some 1/4 inches on the outside just to stabilize it a little bit more, keep it from bending as much, and that's probably good, hopefully, maybe. Alright, so we came back over here. We drilled some 5/16-ish holes up in here, put some 1/4 inch-ish bolts through the top of there, so this is nice and solid. I don't think it's level anymore, but I don't care at this point. Actually, I don't think I've cared at any point during this. Anyway, pulled the carpet off. That's going to be a painstaking process, pulling absolutely all of those way too many staples I put in there. And we're going to pull this hardware off of here and zip these guys in half. I probably should take some measurements of the boat to make sure that I'm getting this to the right height for the roller. But probably I'm just going to not. I can always hit this with a hammer a couple 100,000 times, get it right. And yeah, just going to take both of these boards off, split them in half roughly, put them right back on, put the carpet back on, call it a day. Oh, and we'll probably come over here and flip this axle upside down, and we'll have to take this center thing for the springs and take that out and flip it up, put it on upside down, maybe snip it off, we'll see. And I came over here and cut all the U-bolts down to just about 1.5 inches off. So yeah, I'm gonna shut up and get back to it. And as could be expected, those Ziploc bag and zip tie covers I made for the old spindles did nothing. So those are slag. They're probably worse than they would have been if I'd have just left them covered and greased up in the open air. So we may come in here with the death wheel and zip them off, or I may just leave them. I don't know. We'll see. I don't think they're going to clearance when I flip the axle, personally, so I'm probably going to come in here with the death wheel and just zip them both off right here at the base of the spindle, right at the back of the axle shaft, and I'm sure that's going to be a fun process. Oh, and I trimmed the tops off of these lights as well. That wasn't too hard, and I went and put both of them level. I don't know why I was doing it the other way before, but yeah. So they're about the same height now, so they're not going to interfere at all. And with only a moderate amount of fight, we got the boards lowered to, I believe, about 4 inches now, and I've got the carpet back on them. So if that roller ends up not lining up, I'm just going to smack it with the sledgehammer until it's tall enough. I'm not going to readjust any of this crap. Alright, all that's left now is to flip the axles, I think, and whatever the other thing I said I was going to do was, I'll remember it. Oh yeah, and fix that. Alright, new problem. This guy is predictably too tall now, so can't really make it any shorter. Guess I could cut that top piece of the metal off and then trim a good, ooh lord, about half the thing off. Yeah, I don't really want to have to drill those holes again. Those are pretty hefty holes. I gotta drill 3 of them. We'll see. Maybe I just won't care. I don't know. I probably, well, shit. Yeah, I can't move it. I definitely can't move it down because then it interferes with this. So I guess we're going to chop this off and then drop this down to about here somewhere. But just, yeah, whatever. I'll figure it out. And that's been trimmed up. Perfect fit.
and our roller should still clear. I ain't gonna test it, but it should be fine. Guess what? Surprise plot twist. We got title. Oh yeah, well not quite yet. I gotta send off the paperwork, but they weren't able to find the title. But my cousin was actually paying property tax and getting decals this entire time. They just hadn't put it on the boat. So yeah, they've got it for this year, so I can slap that on there and use it until 2022 and then transfer it over to me. Anyway, all this really means is that, you know, I don't got to worry about title for another couple of years. I got them to sign it, not put a date on it, so I can just slap a date on it, get it notarized, send it off, and not have to pay any late fees because, oh Lord, that John boat is turning out to be not a free boat. Not only did I have to send a certified letter to the last known address of the last known owner, I've got to run a newspaper ad for 3 days straight, get a certification from the newspaper, send all that off, and then I have to pay $100 in application fees. I got to get title. Well, I have to get title for the boat, then I have to pay a $30 late fee, and then I have to get duplicate title for the motor in the previous guy's name so that he can then give me the title, and then I have to also pay $30 on top of that, and I don't know where the other money went, but I have to pay like $100 just in application fees, plus the certified letter, plus the newspaper ad, and it's working out to be like, it's probably going to end up being like $200 just for the title to that motor and the other boat, because, and the bullshit that pisses me off is that they're slapping me with a past 2-month late fee when it took them 6 months to get me back anything on the paperwork. That's bullshit. But I'm not going to fight it because they're technically right, because I had the thing for like 4 years without doing paperwork, but whatever, I digress. We got title for this but now, boys. So we might be hitting that water sooner than you think. Well, we've been cleaning out the garage, and we found this thing that my dad has kept for God knows how long and has finally given up putting a top back on. And we set it out on the curb, and it sat there for a night, and then I woke up this morning, looked at it, and went, oh shit, this is absolutely perfect for making some pylons, and now that we're throwing it away, it's trash, which means it's free. And yeah, what I need is something that's about 16 to 18 inches tall, and that has, and it's a tube that's bent at a 90-degree angle, is an inch in diameter, and preferably has a hole, maybe 2, drilled in it, and it's bent at a 90-degree angle, and it's maybe 6 to 8 inches long. Which, if you look over yonder, seems to be this bench. And if we take this here tape measure, you can see that it is exactly an inch in diameter. It is bent at a 90-degree angle. And if we take this tape measure and smack it on the ground, it is close to 16 inches at that hole right there. So all the way down to that bend is about 15. So I think this should do nicely. I can always cut it off at an angle. So my plan is to take this, disassemble it, take all these screws out, and then either take this one right here, snip it in half, and then just drill more holes as needed. Or if it looks like I can use both of these holes, snip it right here, and then take one of these and snip it over there. But I think it's probably going to be best if I just take this and then snip it in half like that. I don't think I have the room to be able to use all of that. Alright, well, we got our new pylon on now, and it's way more stable. And it's also bent, but I don't care. We're just going to leave it like that. Adds character. Maybe I'll just do... There we are. That'll work, probably. I'm sure that'll bend back. But that's done, and I got this thing on jack stands now. So what I'm going to do is pull both wheels. Then I think I'm just going to go ahead and drop the springs. Or probably easiest is to just, yeah, screw it. We're going to pull both wheels, and we're going to drop the rear of the leaf springs, and then drop the front of the leaf springs. Just take that whole thing out. Then I can pull off the leaf springs off the axle, go in there, flip their bolt around, do all that,
and then I can slide leaf springs back in, hook the front back up, then drop it down, or maybe I'll do whatever. Anyway, I'm going to work on the axle next, and I think that's the only thing in the way of this boat now, or title. Alright, so I have now overslung the axle. As you can see under here now, the axle is on top of the spring, so we've gained another 3 inches, well, lost another 3 inches. Had to come in here, did not have to cut the old spindles off. Thankfully, I got plenty of clearance. They're like just barely long enough that they would ever be able to contact the wheel, but they would only ever contact on the very outermost edge, so I'm just going to ignore them because they've got like 2 inches of clearance. But did have to cut the mud flaps to clear. This side's real bad. Cut the other side identical, and it's got plenty of clearance. But trim those up. Had to replace, I don't know if you can see that, the spring Howdy Downy hardware. We luckily had some more fine thread bolts. They had no threads left on them pretty much past where they were already mounted, so I had to replace them. So those have been swapped out, so got new bolts squishing the springs together. Did notice one other problem though. She might be a bit rusted out down in here. Just went in there with the 1 pound frame checker, and sure enough, she ain't got much life left in her, so we're gonna ignore that. Or maybe if I learn how to weld, we're gonna weld a plate over the top of that, but it's plenty strong at the moment. I also came up here and I bent the winch more or less straight, so now this arm right here is cattywampus, with the frame. It doesn't really show up too much on camera, but it is bent all the fuck out of whack. But luckily the trailer's bent, so that thing still actually lines up with the boat. I might come in there with a sledgehammer and bend this back a little bit. Just got a big old pipe clamp on there and just sort of bent it until I felt like the cast iron was going to break. But we got it lined up now, so it's good enough. I can always bend it some more. So yeah, John boat's ready to go back. The only thing I got to do is get that damn Evinrude running. So we're going to do that next. Hopefully all it should need is for me to just turn it on, tune it, and it should be golden. I hope, I pray. The only other thing it could be is the fuel pump, which I have not been able to replace. You saw all that fucking headache. So anyway, not this weekend though, because it's like 7:15 already and my weekend's gone. But yeah, boat, still working on title. God, that's gonna cost more than it would have cost for me to just buy a John boat, than to get, title for lost abandoned vessel. It's a fucking headache. Anyway, I digress. We're gonna get that son of a bitch running here. That's the next step, so that we can finally bring this back and have this John boat on lock. We are 22.5 inches to bunk on this side for reference, because I forgot what the hell it was on the other trailer. And we're closer to 22 and a quarter on this side, which is why it looks like the boat is tilted. So yeah, big difference. I'll have to double check what it was on the other boat, but we're gonna say 22.5 inches from ground on this side, and that's with me having jumped on the wheels and made sure the springs were set. Alrighty, we got our second 2 spark plug, and we're gonna hook that into yonder outboard, and hopefully that fixes our tuning issues. Hopefully. Alright, we got another roadside gas can. We're gonna attempt to adapt for the boat. This one's a 5, so I'm gonna try and use this if possible. And we're just gonna throw it over here, fill it up with water, and see if it leaks. And if it doesn't, then great. We'll have water in our gas. Awesome. 2 for 1. Well, good news. Gas can doesn't have any leaks, so I'm gonna dump all of that out, dry it out for a bit. Well, what am I kidding? I'm gonna dry it out for a month or 20, and then we're gonna use this to make us a boat gas tank. Guess who just found, quite literally, a brand new 6-foot length of 5/16 boat fuel line with primer pump laying on the side of the road. This guy. Heck yeah. Now I just got to get fittings and figure out some way to plumb this into one of those old gas cans. And we'll actually have a gas can for this Evinrude, if this thing, you know, doesn't actually have any leaks in it. Nice. All right, neutral, it's about 1200. It's a little high, but whatever. Forward should be about 750. That sounds right to me. Reverse should be about 600. Little low. Real smoky. Do not have the fine adjustment here that I need to actually get this to, you know, sit at idle. But she's running fine now. She's got plenty of power. She just doesn't have any idle. Not certain what that is. Pulling fuel just fine. That doesn't make a difference, so fuel pump's fine. See how low I can get her to idle. I cannot adjust that anymore. Like it's all the way out, and I can still suck it in that far. It's in all the way now. She's idling. That's a good sign. I wonder if I can richen it up a bit and get her to actually live. Nope, she didn't really like that. Nope, nope. Okay, well, I borked it. But I think that's good enough for it to actually work. All right, I think I got her dialed in. She's idling now. Forward. Right where I want her. She's going just fine. She's all the way at the start setting, but reverse. Hands free. Idles. Low on water. Not sucking it up. Up, there it goes. I spoke too soon. She'll run. She'll putter. She starts easy at the very least, because she's going to die all the time. Stop button even works. Nice. Well, that is just such a much nicer fit. Also, y'all don't understand how much lighter this thing is than that Honda. This thing is like barely 60 pounds. That Honda just, it's too damn heavy. But anyway, she's on there and she's solid as she's gonna get. Just pop her into tilt, give her one click. She's ready to go. So we can haul that back out. We'll just forget about that crack in the case. Doesn't look like it causes any problems. I'm not certain if there's water in the gear oil either, because it just leaks oil out of it. But I'm confident because it's coming out of this right here that it's just way too much oil in the gas and way too much oil built up in the exhaust that's just sort of melting out. I don't really like how it's gray though. That kind of worries me. Yeah, we'll just ignore it. But it's got oil coming out of it. But we're just gonna haul it anyway, dump it in the creek, see if it blows up or not, and then get stranded. Nice. On the road again. I can't wait to get off this fucking road again. We got the John boat and the Evinrude in tow, and we are back to the other house. Looks like we made it. We're here. Boat survived. Only casualty is the small gas can bounced up there and landed over there. And that was it. Nothing caught fire. Hubs are not, you know, red hot. Boat stayed in one place. Didn't cave in. Didn't even move. That's perfect. So, yeah. We have survived. We now have 2 free boats, as far as I'm aware. Still working on title for both of them. This one should come back here in the next month. That was just a simple title application. We're working through the newspaper ad right now so I can send off the application with the certified mail receipt and all that jazz and see if they give it to me or if they just take my money and tell me to piss off. We'll see. Definitely going to get the
the title for the Honda, though. That's not a problem. Just may not end up with it for the John boat. In which case, it'll just never have a motor, and it'll just be a lake boat, or pond boat, whatever you want to call it. But yeah, that's the end of it. This is the end of this episode of Operation Freeboat. Still spending money, still got boats, still not in the water. But hopefully, next time, we'll have title to both boats, and I'll be able to hook this thing in the creek and spin around and capsize and sink and die, and then grab the other boat and do the exact same thing. Die again. Anyway, if you like this kind of crap, go down there, give the video a like, comment, smash that subscribe button, and until next time, I'm out.